cracking down on big tech. Facebook revealing in a new company filing that the shareholder revolt is intensifying, with independent investors overwhelmingly backing two proposals to weaken CEO Mark Zuckerberg's power. So joining us now to discuss this is Trillium Asset Management Senior Vice President Jonas Krohn. Jonas, your firm is a shareholder of Facebook. The vote for an independent board chair received 68% for Main Street and Wall Street investors, up dramatically from the 51% back in 2017. So what are you seeing when you're hearing shareholders jump in on the push to oust Zuckerberg, and why is now the time for a change?
Thanks, Zach, for having me. I appreciate it. Well, I think what we're seeing right now is a really quite deep well of concern about the concentration of power in one individual, like we see with Mark Zuckerberg. So this is a shareholder proposal that in 2017 got 50% of the vote. Obviously, a lot has happened over the last 2 years. And seeing that vote now jump to 68% is, I think, a big message for the board and for Mark Zuckerberg personally.
The one problem there, though, is, of course, that Zuckerberg still controls the votes. He's in power, and he can decide whether that comes to fruition or not, and obviously he doesn't want to see himself go. So what are you kind of trying to get done with these votes and pushing for this? Is this just to highlight kind of what change needs to come, or are you actually trying to make him feel like he does need to go?
Well, I think what we're doing is we're providing a vehicle for Wall Street investors, Main Street investors to share their opinion. And I think he respects that opinion. I think he can look around and he can see that Alphabet and Apple and Autodesk and Microsoft all have independent board chairs. I think we can even look over at Alphabet, which has a dual class structure and an independent board chair, as well as a founder CEO. And so I think we have a lot of models for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook to look to. And what we're really trying to do is to provide the investor input into those discussions.
Hey, Jonas, Melody here. I know this might seem like a very naive question, but I think it is important to highlight, why are you a shareholder then? If you don't necessarily subscribe to the way the company is run, if you feel like Zuckerberg shouldn't be holding this much power, isn't there just the option to sell all your shares and say, hey, we want to invest in a company where the corporate governance and structure is more in line with what we want?
So there's a lot of different kinds of investors in Facebook right now. Some of them are investors that could be selling out, but there's a lot of investors that are not in the position to do that. So they're going to be passive investors. They're going to be invested in the index. Facebook is in the indexes, and so they're going to have to own Facebook. So for those investors, this is really the only way that they're going to have to act and communicate on behalf of their clients and their shareholders and their beneficiaries. For Trillium, we look at a number of different factors: environmental factors, social factors, governance factors. We've been doing that for over 30 years. So it rarely comes down to any one specific piece. There's really sort of the mosaic of information. We are doing this in part because we think there's a real opportunity here for the company to improve, and they're going to improve their performance because of that, as well as their social impacts. So we're really here to try to help the company become a better company.
I just want to ask, too, though, because we're talking about a problem at Facebook that seems specific when you talk about what Mark Zuckerberg has done there and his management team with Sheryl Sandberg. But when we look at other tech companies, they're kind of facing similar problems around data privacy and regulation as well. So, I mean, are you putting too much pressure? And this is not my job. I'm not looking for excuses here. But are you putting too much pressure on one company when it's facing problems that a lot of its peers are as well?
So this shareholder proposal certainly shouldn't be seen in isolation. There's, like you're saying, there's a lot of regulatory pressure that's coming to bear on the company as well as other companies. And the question that we're asking is specifically on the independent board chair. There's also a shareholder proposal that was seeking to have one share, one vote instead of the dual class structure. And then, of course, we also saw how the directors were voted on at this annual meeting. So this isn't just one piece of the puzzle. There are a lot of different questions being asked of the company. There's really a whole quiver full of governance improvements that are being encouraged at the company right now.
All right, Jonas Krohn, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.